Hi everybody. Welcome to episode 25 of I Saw Him First podcast. If this is an episode 25, just ignore everything I just said. I think it is. Anyway, welcome back to my podcast. It's I. I'm being very formal today. It is I, your host, Taiwo. Welcome back. Thank you for coming back. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for watching. That's right, I'm now on YouTube. So if you're listening on any audio platform, go to the link in this, the description of this podcast, and you will find me on YouTube, Her Dalton, HERDULTING. That's where you can find me on YouTube, Her Dalton, so you can see my pretty face. Anyway, welcome back to this podcast. Today, as you can already tell, we're going to keep it short and sweet. We're going to be talking about what you bring to the table. Okay, this topic, I know it's kind of overdone, but I hope that I would deal with it or talk about it from a slightly different perspective today. I'm just thinking, and what inspired this was listening to the Pressed podcast hosted by Adiola Patron and Mariam Musa. They're two YouTubers, content creators, love them. Anyway, they have a podcast together and they were talking about the ick initially. And if you don't know, the ick is basically like cringy things that, a girl or a guy does and you find very icky, very cringy, things that you're just turned off by. And they were sort of like, girls are getting turned off by very stupid, ridiculous things these days. They were talking about how, girls should kind of be reasonable and how their expectations are just like ridiculous. And at this point, it just doesn't even make sense. The things that they're saying turns them off. And I was thinking about it and I was like, that's true. Like when I was younger, I definitely used to say very stupid things like, oh, if a guy does this, if a guy does that. But now I think I'm more like accepting and more I don't care as much about very little stupid things like I used to when I was younger. I'm more like tolerant. I'm more I allow room now for like mistakes that I used to. I allow room for like people to just be human. And then it just kind of made me think and brought me to the topic of what you bring to the table. Because if you're that person and you're like, you have like a whole list of things that a guy cannot do. You can't do this, you can't do that. It's icky I've heard that it's icky if he looks at Google Maps. And to be fair, I don't think it's icky if a guy looks at Google Maps, but I think I would prefer a guy that knows like directions, because I'm very bad with navigations. And I think for me it's just more it's just more like manly to know where you're going. Again, this is probably one of those things that are just silly. But yeah, I've heard people say it's icky when guys look at Google Maps. It's icky when they get out of the car or like get up and the butt crack is showing or whatever. Actually, no, that's kind of icky. But there's really stupid things that girls have complained about, and I'm thinking, okay, right, you don't like all this 100 lists of things. What about you? Like this YouTuber said in their podcast, they were like, sort of like, what do you bring to the table? Like, what are your icks? And they kind of mentioned how, if you're black, we wear wigs, right? And sometimes the lace of the wig can show. And they said they find that icky about themselves. And, I'm rambling now, but basically that made me think, what are things that I do that people can find annoying or icky? What even is it that I bring to the table? I don't know. I honestly don't know. I actually thought about this and I think, that's the purpose of this podcast, you guys, for you to help me unravel myself and help me figure out what I bring to the table. Because I literally have no list right now. I have no plans for how this episode is going to go. But again, we're going to keep it short and sweet because that's how we do now. What do I bring to the table? I can't think of one thing. Like, I really can't think of one thing that someone would say, this is what is like, amazingly good about me. Maybe that's a bad thing. I don't know. I don't think that's a bad thing. But, I mean, when I think of what others bring to the table, when I think of guys that I like and what they bring to the table, it's usually people that are, kind, people that are funny, people that um ambitious, like have their life together, people that, well, tall, handsome. Is that really bringing something to the table? I guess, I mean, you could bring looks to the table. I like that. You're right. I was just saying, you could bring looks to the table. Maybe that's one thing I bring to the table. But like, that aside, like, what would you benefit from dating me? I can't really click, like, it doesn't click. I can't think of one thing. I guess, like, I'm quite supportive, I would say, of people's like decisions. I mean, I am now. Actually, let me wind back because some people might hear this and say, "Are you sure about that?" I used to be more picky, more like, how do I say it? I used to be more hard on people, right? And when I think about it, it's because I was hard on myself. I'm less hard on myself now. Honestly, I'm not gonna lie, I can't be bothered most of the time these days. I've just sort of become that person that's like more zen and just letting things happen. Because I've just realized that overthinking really does not solve anything. That's not a very novel, that's not like a new idea or new like, point. But now I'm just more, again, tolerant of other people, and maybe that's why I'm tolerant of other people, because I'm more tolerant of myself now. I'm more let it go, let it flow, let whatever wants to happen. And maybe that's what I bring to the table now. I'm supportive, I'm less pestering. I guess that's the word. I'm less pestering, like I, as opposed to who I used to be. I think, you know being with me will be easy breezy now, because you can do whatever you want. I just let you do whatever you want now. And again, someone might hear this and be like, you, easy breezy. And yes, 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 I admit I've not always been like that. But right now, I'm easy breezy, and that's what I bring to the mother effing table. Okay? I bring my pretty face. I bring my amazing personality. I think I'm pretty like bubbly, funny. Loads of people have said I'm funny. Like just a very like uplifting energy kind of person. So yeah, that's another thing I bring to the table. Look at that. I've already mentioned 3 things. Yeah, I guess what I bring to the table now is just like confidence, just knowing that you're chatting to me because you want to chat to me. And, if you're not texting me right now, it doesn't mean that you don't still care about me. I don't need the constant like, hi there, hi there, hi there. Maybe it's a love language thing. I think that might be his love language, maybe like affirming things and like words of affirmation. For me, it's just like doing things for me. Do things for me. But yeah, this episode is not about love languages. It's about what I bring to the table. And yeah, so I think it's something to think about what you bring to the table, think about what you want people to bring to the table. It's kind of it's kind of a stupid it's kind of a stupid thing, like it's a stupid idea in the first place to say, oh no, what do you bring? Some women would be like, I am the table. What do you bring to the table? I am the table. No, you're not. And that's why men now are saying they are the table, like they are the price. Oh my god, I don't even know where I heard that. Probably Instagram. This guy saying, men, you are the price, not the women. I was like, since when? Since when? Again, I don't think women are like the price either. But I think it helps to just like, I think things like, what you bring to the table. I don't think it's not a valid conversation, because again, it's just more of like what compatibility. I think that should be more of the conversation rather than what do you bring to the table. Because at the end of the day, I think what makes a relationship work is like compatibility. And like if something that you really really care about, the other person like isn't doing or isn't capable of, or they don't find it important, like again, that it's not gonna work in my opinion. Because say for instance you bring money, so you're rich, and I've got out with someone that was all he had to offer, just the fact that he has made more money than me. And it wasn't very impressive because it was much older than me. So for me it was just like, yeah, if I was your age I would have made that much money too. So to him, maybe that's what he thinks he brings to the table, being able to pay for other, it was nice, pay for other drinks that we got. I didn't have to spend a dime. But to him, that's probably what it brings to the table. For me, I still wasn't satisfied with what it brought to the table. So like at the end of the day, what you're bringing to the table, I don't, okay, I don't cook, I don't clean, but I'm gonna get that ring. Wait, what ring finger? Yeah, this one. I'm still gonna get the ring because the person I would be with would not care about cooking and cleaning. So for me, I don't bring that to the table. That's not what my selling point is. I think we should talk more of a USP. What's your USP? Mine isn't cooking and cleaning. So like even if I was bringing that to the table and the person that I'm with didn't really care if they knew how to cook, I think me bringing cooking and cleaning doesn't make much of a difference. So that makes sense. So I don't think it makes much of a difference what you bring to the table. Just to conclude this podcast, I don't think it makes like a big difference what you bring to the table. I think it makes a difference what the other person thinks they need, like what the other person wants and like desires, and basically will be fulfilled by in a partner. Like what part of their puzzle will be, completed by being in a partnership with you. It doesn't really matter what you bring to the table. It matters what the other person wants from your relationship. So yeah, it doesn't. I don't know. I don't know if I'm making any sense. Because I don't like to cook and clean. Someone who can cook and clean, yes, please. That's what I'm looking for. But if I was someone that loved to cook and clean, their loving to cook and clean does not make any difference to me because I like to do it anyway. That's basically what I'm trying to say. It doesn't matter what you bring to the table, it matters what the other person wants on the table. That's it, mic drop. Boom. Okay, guys, thank you so much for listening. That's the end of this week's episode. I hope you enjoyed this. Again, I'm doing this on my lunch break. So, you guys, the only way you can pay me back is to like on YouTube, subscribe on YouTube, follow on Spotify, rate on Apple. You can now rate on Spotify as well. So, yeah, please keep supporting my podcast and follow on Instagram as well. Thank you so much for listening, and share with people that you like and tell them what do you bring to the damn table. Bye.